Hello, everybody. Angel Arts is here, and welcome to a very special episode of Let's Roleplay Mass Effect Collision. Once again, I'm here with the main squad. It's been a while that I was able to have them all to my very self once again, because I've been focusing a lot on Bravo and Alpha lately. But surprise, surprise, we have found ourselves in a completely different locale. That is the main squad have found themselves somehow in the land of Thedas. And we are going to explore what happens when the world of Mass Effect collides with the world of Dragon Age. That should be really exciting. So for your warm-up question, I asked the players to give me an idea of which PCs they would like to vote on interacting with during their stay in Thedas, and which NPCs they'd like to interact with. So I would like to ask each player to select one of your PC choices and one of your NPC choices, and explain why you wanted your character to interact with that character.
Maximilian, because I think he and our car would clash in a nice way.
Really? In a nice way? Yeah,
yeah that could... No, not in that way, sadly. It would be
He's spoken for down girl.
He is.
Yeah, no worries.
That's
not our
enough
car
shit
type.
already.
A car is
He's
such
not
a
our car
homewrecker. Such a homewrecker. Maximilian doesn't
Yeah.
have enough scars. Doesn't have enough scars for our car's taste.
Not nearly, no.
Okay.
Hey, wouldn't
So,
Delwyn be scarred from all that blood magic? Nothing, didn't
That's
say anything.
very possible, that's very
I'm just shut up now.
Elias will have to find out.
how about NPC, Anna?
I think Clem.
And why
I-
Clem?
Because he would be the type that would intrigue Arkara, I think. She would be like, wait, what? This is interesting.
Right.
Plus, he has the kind of personality that I think Arkara would appreciate.
Delwyn. Reason
Delwyn.
why is because, well, he's such a sassy pants. I mean, you just gotta love it. Not to mention his dragon bending. Oh, I'm sorry, magic. I forgot. Wrong series. Would be very helpful in a fight, and not to mention, maybe explore that goofy side of him that we barely saw in the second half of the last campaign.
Okay.
So not to mention, Shally seems like a really fun person to hang out with.
She's a sweet girl. Sweet girl. How about NPC?
That's easy. That would have to be Vicious Vic.
Why
Because I
Mrs.
could
Vic?
drink. Because I can drink that guy under the table and laugh about it.
Maybe
And I don't have to
more.
cheat.
Good choice.
Isn't he a golem now?
Yeah, he's a
Yeah,
gold
he's
now.
golden
He's
now,
a gold
that's
the
now.
order.
We can drink
Can
alcoholic
you even drink
wine.
now?
I don't know. I mean, it's I don't know how.
if he can
I don't know
drink.
how. I don't know if you'd be able to outlast him though.
Yeah.
Could be a
I
problem,
could
yeah.
take mountains.
But that would be really fun to watch.
Have him watch.
I'll get the- I'll get
Have
the
him drink
popcorn.
Wrinkle.
Besides, I could hop on his back and be like, "Hi ho, Silver," and he'd be like, "Get off my back!" And I'd be like, "Throw bombs that way!" And he'd be like, "No, seriously, you're not the boss of me." And I'd be like, "Grab that tree, hit it with it. You're the worst mount ever." Ugh.
I would have to say Leodin.
Leodin.
Yeah, because I found his epilogue really interesting, and as a character, I liked how he kind of like came out of his shell throughout the entire campaign, and he just seems like a cool dude. And maybe Sink could learn a thing or two about like sneaking around or keeping things a secret from the
Okay.
road.
Okay.
The really giant rogue who's really bad at sneaking.
Yes.
The He-Man Road.
And as far as NPC, there's so many great choices there too. But I'd have to say Plim. I just love his personality. He's such a such a womanizer, and I think it's funny. And he's just so awesome.
Maximilian. Just because I think I'd like to see kind of like how much Giuseppe and Maximilian would butt heads. Like even with their kind of
You're a law enforcer.
I know, but I think they both.
Corrupt.
I think
She's corrupt.
That's true.
I'm not corrupt. I am perfectly innocent. Just by me trying to go out and kill people. But I would like to kind of like, because I would imagine those two probably might butt heads, but also agree on certain points too.
Right. And
NPC. I'd say maybe Maelstrom, just because I'd like to see like kind of those very strong female characters. I think she would be very awesome to see again. Just about it, I guess.
As from a PC perspective, I Elias would probably really want to chat to Gwenail, because
Yes.
Gwenail is big on the knowledge, and Elias is like, I want all of it, please, thank you very much. He's a bit like that, funnily enough. Yes, absolutely. He's a massive nerd, come on! So yeah, and I think NPC-wise, Cogs would be #1 choice, but he's already showed up, so yay. And otherwise, I think it's definitely Plim. I was actually quite serious when we chatted in the last session, going, "Can we take him with us, please, please, please? Can we take him with us?" Because and lycanthropes in space. Come on. Not to mention that it'll be a case of Corbin, you owe me 100 creds. Furry aliens do exist, damn it. And it's not just the Vorcha.
So, just as a warning, as you guys can imagine, this session will contain spoilers from the Dragon Age campaign.
Go watch it.
Yes, well, thank you. If you don't care, or you have Dragon Age isn't your thing, then of course watch. Otherwise, just be sensitive to the fact that use your discretion. That there are a lot of good spoilers will be abounding in today's session. So, we are going to first double back because I want to do some much important role playing between Chris and Anar. Chris being our newest character that's a crew member essentially, because he basically was delivered essentially to the group from the Alpha Squad. Well, technically the Bravo Squad. So Anar has sort of been avoiding Chris, and I think before you guys made the jump, because you guys are still in New Orleans at the dock, you haven't even lifted off. You guys were still in stationary, and then stuff happened. So why don't we go ahead and deal with that? So Chris is probably going to be spending time. I don't know where Anar was, but Chris is probably going to be in the cargo bay, which is convenient because that's where his mech is, or the mech that he worked on is.
He would kind of just appear after Chris has looked around for a few moments.
Okay.
Kind of like you watch Chris and then it's like, ooh, no, and he would just appear. Just behind him. He won't even say anything, he'll just appear.
Okay. Chris will be startled, and he will turn around and say, "Oh, Anar, you scared me. Hi."
Well, right now Anar is he's got his headphones on, but kind of laid back, and he's actually sipping a soda, and he's wearing one of his hoodies he picked up during the festivities. But he's not saying anything. He's just kind of sipping and staring at him for just a few moments.
So I saw that you still have the suit. It's treating you okay?
After a few moments, Anard says, "You bastard."
I'm sorry? He says as he backs
And
up
then
a little bit.
all of a sudden, Anar winds up one of his tentacles and throws something really hard at his face. But it doesn't hurt. It actually bounces off harmlessly.
It does? Okay. If you say so. It bounces
he
off
looks-
harmlessly.
Does he pick up the object?
Ow. he says, "That didn't hurt for some reason." And then he
If
he
that's
says,
because it's actually that air freshener that NR found in the mech on episode 2.
he picks up the
And
air
he's-
freshener.
And this one says, "You know damn well this one can't smell anything."
Well,
After a few Okay.
Go ahead.
After a few seconds, Anar starts to laugh.
Chris says he looks a little nervous because he's not really sure. I've seen my best. The last time I saw my best friend, he ran away from me, and now he's throwing air fresheners at my face. So he's not really sure what to think of this.
Well,
Are you
then he's not
doing
gonna.
okay, Anar?
That's when Anar lunges at him, grabs him really tightly, and says, "You're alive!"
Yes. Yes.
Yes, he's squeezing him a little tight.
So are you. You're also alive.
He gives him a noogie.
Oh. Oh man. I thought you were angry at me for some reason.
This one can understand why you would think that. And he gingerly actually takes back the air freshener. But no, seriously, this one can't smell anything. Tosses it behind him.
I
He
guess
actually looks solemn for a second and says, "This one must apologize for the other day."
Don't worry about it. You were just surprised.
I look at him solemnly and says, "You have no idea how surprised it was." And he takes another sip of the soda.
Yeah. I was kind of fortunate that I was able to grab a ride with those guys. They seemed pretty cool.
This one will explain its odd behavior. There's a lot to go over. You've been gone for a very long time.
You? Odd? Oh, no way.
I will actually give him a serious look and say, "Chris, there's a lot we must discuss." Anar actually moves towards the mech. Oh, this one apologizes. The mech's taken a lot of beatings over the years, and it's tried its best to keep it up to snuff.
I probably can give it a tune-up.
We'll worry about that later.
Maybe add a few things to it. Looks like it's been through a lot, though.
Yes, it has. Want to say hello to Pipsqueak? And he'll summon a Pipsqueak real quick.
Oh, hey! How are you, little thing? He says as he sort of pets, not really, but, mimics petting the droid thing.
Your drone actually came in handy
The
throughout
drone
the
thing.
years.
I hope so. Since, I've been kind of missing in action. I was trying really hard to get back. It was just, other universe and all. Kind of hard. Really hard.
Anar actually drifts over to the Drimmy's counter, puts a tentacle on it for a moment, and then he looks back at Chris and says, "What exactly did happen to you? Where have you been these last 5 years?"
Well, I've sort of been incarcerated. Some mental facility. Some Cerberus mental facility. Ugh, he said. It's not it was okay. They treated us all right. It's just, well, they thought that we were absolutely cuckoo for, well, me for claiming where I was from.
This one can understand. So this entire time you were in another universe?
Yeah, kind of weird. It's totally different from here, cause well, we at least in that universe we won, but not in the same way that we did here.
Chris will probably notice that Anar is kind of drifting into space a little bit, and then he actually probably would hear him whisper to himself, "So it really was all in vain."
Beg your pardon?
I look at Chris and say, "It will explain soon enough. Please continue." He's actually going to hop into the mech and start fixing him up a drink. Do you still like the same thing you used to drink?
Oh, absolutely. They didn't have any of it in the facility that I was at. I tried even after all of my notes in the suggestion box.
Notes. So, as he's handing him the soda or whatever he drank, it just says, "By the way, it kept up with the rent while you're gone. Your dad's shop is still there."
We'll say, really? The repair shop?
Mm-hmm. After what happened, it didn't want it going anywhere, so
Yeah.
it fronted up the rent every month.
How long has it been since I was gone?
5 years.
Wow.
5 very, very long years.
That was when we were on one of our missions, and we were on the Citadel. What do you call the Citadel monorail or train, or I don't know what we call those. I think we were in the Citadel monorail or something.
Rapid transit. They just call it rapid
Rapid
transit.
transit. We were on the rapid transit. That was in your backstory, right? Anar, that you
Yes,
guys were
it
on the rapid
was.
transit. It was on the rapid.
That's where they ended up.
Yeah. I mean, we were on that rapid transit on our mission, and people were firing at us, and all of a sudden there was this big giant explosion. I thought it was them at first. I thought maybe they threw a bomb or something, but I shut my eyes, and then when I opened them up, you were gone and they were gone, and I was still on the train, but there was no sign of you guys. And then after a while, I kind of realized that, well, I was no longer home.
I'm giving him a puzzled look now. That's when you jumped?
Yeah.
This entire time, it believed the mercs dragged you off.
Nope.
I'm actually looking very puzzled right now, and I'm actually deep in thought. Then I shake out of it and say, "It apologizes. It's just revisiting that day mentally." No, I shake my head. Well, it supposes it can't put this off much longer. Do you mind hopping in the mech with me? It has something to show you.
Just like old times.
No, not just like old times.
Oh. Well, sure.
Chris, this one's been looking for you for 5 years. 5 years.
And this one's been trying to get back home for 5 years.
You don't understand, Chris. It has to show you what it means.
Okay, sure.
Anar goes to the back of the mech, opens up the cache that allows people to walk through, and then all of a sudden there's an entire avalanche of thermoses.
Okay.
Anar hops in and says, "Sorry about the mess."
Oh, no worries.
And then they hop in. Anar's gonna hop into a seat and show him to the other spot.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. If he looks around, you'll notice that it's definitely messier than he remembers.
He's not gonna comment on that.
All right.
Chris is very laid back with that kind of stuff.
Anar is sipping on a soda, just going through his systems, bringing up some files. And I say, 5 years is a long time, Chris. And it just wants to say ahead of time that and at the end, it is glad that you're okay.
Thanks. I'm really glad that you're safe too.
I don't even answer that. And I actually bring up one file, and on the bottom right, the view count is in the thousands.
Okay.
And this is and he starts to play the footage of what happened. On screen is currently the gunfight between Anar, Chris, and the Mercs.
Okay.
I apologize for my pauses. I've been working all night.
That's fine.
And it's getting fierce to the point where Anar actually tosses Chris onto one of the moving monorails, and he jumps onto it with them. And then they're dealing with some whirlybirds, or whatever they're called in Mass Effect universe. And I look over and I say, "It is sure you remember this, correct?"
Yeah. I didn't realize that you kept all this footage.
Actually, if Chris is really paying attention, in the video file,
Yeah.
there is an astronomical amount of videos.
Okay.
This one has documented everything that has happened within the mech. It just never bothered to share it with anybody.
Wow.
You say, wow, now. This one isn't. And it gets to the point where there's an explosion, and
Right.
Anar is yelling, heads up. And then he
Right.
pauses it. And it says, this one always thought they bombed it. You're saying you ended up in a portal?
Are you pausing? You're pausing the explosion? The time of the explosion?
Yes, the explosion.
You paused the explosion just in time. I mean, when you were playing the footage, like, you may not have noticed because it was so subtle and it happens in almost like a split second, but you paused it just in time to see this big, giant yellow glow.
Oh, dear.
Yeah,
Does Chris point this out to Anar?
I don't think Chris would notice it. Having jumping through like universe portals like all the time, you probably would recognize it more than he would. It's just you
Then I
never really
guess-
noticed it beforehand because I don't think you've looked at the footage that recently, I guess, or paused it at that exact point.
I guess Anar, I would look closer to the screen and say, all this time and it never knew. And it was right in front of its face. It must
Huh?
admit, however, do you see that glow? The yellow
Yeah.
glow.
Yeah.
Every time we have jumped, the glow of the corresponding universe always shines before we transport. Because we've been jumping to universe after universe, dealing with the Reaper incursion.
Wow. Well, so you're saying that someone sucked me into the other universe? But who or why?
None of us know. Did they not explain it to you when you entered the ship?
Did any of you guys like talk to Chris about it specifically? I don't think I remember
Well,
anyone
we
roleplaying
never
that
we
with
never
Chris.
we never role played with Chris, so I'm assuming this is
Yeah.
when Chris first
Yeah.
actually shows up and goes to see Anar.
Yeah, yeah.
Because
So they haven't.
Elise isn't there, and I've got no
Right.
idea where the others are.
Yeah, the others haven't really had a chance to really talk to him, so nobody's really explained
Okay.
anything. And the Alpha Squad kind of glazed over things or Bravo Squad kind of glazed over things with him. Like he's aware that they're jumping in other universes, but it's new to him. It's much newer to him than it is to you guys.
We've only known for a week.
Yeah.
So you went to one that corresponded with the yellow color.
Yes. Although I'm wondering, whoever did it, did they intend for me to go or someone else?
Hmm.
It wonders. Does it have anything to do with that chip of yours?
What? Oh, that chip? I'm not sure. That chip has been an enigma for me for years. It's sort of been my Rubik's Cube for a while that I haven't been able to solve.
when this one first made the jump, everybody thought it was indoctrinated. It turned out to be Reaper Tech.
Reaper Tech? Wait,
Where did-
that was. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy.
Without even looking at him, Anar splashes some water on his face, like, "Knock it off."
Oh, what? Oh, sorry. Sorry, oh gosh. Okay.
Here, you can look at it better later. It's upstairs in a containment field.
I haven't really had much exposure to Reaper Tech, so I guess it makes sense that I wouldn't have really noticed.
Well, this one's kept it in that container over there from where you're sitting for the last 5 years. If this one isn't indoctrinated, then we're fine.
Let's hope
How would
not.
you know?
I see what
You
you're
wouldn't.
saying.
I'm in denial.
So, what now?
In fact, actually, if I continue the video a little bit, it'll show Anar picking up the chip from the rubble.
Which is where you last saw Chris, basically. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll find, yeah.
That chip has allowed us to
Ooh.
jump between worlds after we made the first jump.
Huh.
The moment this thing activated and it was jumped to... Have you met the Officer Altus upstairs? She is the
Oh.
Turian.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Very scary lady.
She seemed nice, he says, sort of unsuredly. Nice.
Be nice, Chris.
I am nice. In fact, people at the facility, people thought I was too nice. Especially Octavius.
Actually, Anar raises his head to that. Did you just say Octavius?
Oh, yeah. He was one of my Turian friends over at the facility.
Was he also like you from another universe?
Yeah, how did you know? He wasn't from Mars, though, according to him.
That's her husband.
Oh. Oh. Wait. Oh.
Another splash of water. Come on, stay with...
Okay. Wow.
Oh,
Maybe
his daughter's also here too. Beautiful little girl,
Wait.
Natalia.
he has a daughter? He
Yes, he
never
does.
told me he had a daughter.
This
Of course,
one's expecting nobody told you anything.
Well, Octavius didn't really talk very much about his personal life. I would ask him about what it was like back where he lived before he ended up there, but he didn't really seem to want to talk about it. So we probably should say something to her, but can we wait a little? Because we kind of left him behind.
I grow a little sullen to that. Yes, it's best we move on anyways. We gotta move on to the next
Out of character, because I want to deal with that not during this session, in the next session. Out of
Oh.
If you guys can understand.
Well,
Okay.
I was going to say, I think there's a lot of things we can do with in other sessions, and that is one of them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. That
Okay.
is- we'll add that to the list, to the bucket list.
Oh,
I'm
oh yes.
It will happen. Don't worry.
We'll have to do a bucket list at some point.
I just don't want to
At
do it during
this
the
point-
Dragon Age session. But anyway,
Yo.
go ahead.
That's fine. I will wipe away the video feed on the screen and start loading up multiple ones with my tentacles. And each one is a face of a different person.
Mm.
Each one gruffier than the next, or solemn, just different people of different kinds.
Mm-hmm.
5 years, Chris. Since that day, it's devoted its life to tracking you down.
And I really appreciate that. You're really a true friend.
True friend. And then, with one button press, slowly X's start appearing on each and every face.
Mm.
At first, it was easy to deal with, one after another, knowing that it would find you in the end. one lead leading to another dead end. And they start to pick up speed as, like, tens and tens of X's, and starts digging into the hundreds.
Who are all these people?
And then at the same time, I play video feed. And each and every square starts playing a video. And in each one, these people are being killed.
Oh. What did they all do?
And then I, without looking at him, I put the straw up to my face, and then I say, "They got in this one's way," and I started to sip.
Chris kind of turns to you with a very concerned look on his face, very uneased look on his face.
It gets worse, and the numbers are still rising. By the way,
Did they all get in your way that much?
mostly merc missions, some targets, some potential informants. Nothing led anywhere. Remember, this one was under the assumption that you were taken. In fact, that knowledge now makes this one even more troubled.
So all of these people you killed because of me?
Looking for you. Yes. It was easy at first. It just wanted to find you. It just stopped caring. But then it started getting harder, then harder. It didn't know how to deal with all the death. It just started to simply not think about it and ignore it. And it started picking up other habits to distract it. And then when regular mercenary work wasn't getting this one anywhere, and he starts refilling his drink, it joined the Eclipse clan, or not clan, the Eclipse faction, and he wipes away all the faces and brings up one of Cyrus. And on the right hand side, it shows his data that he's collected on him. This one received a request for employment under the Eclipse faction. It was to work as a personal bodyguard for a Professor Cyrus Lennox, one of their top negotiators. By the way, he's on the ship.
Huh. I don't think I know him. He doesn't look familiar.
No, you'll know him sooner or later. So this one took up work under the promise that they would help this one find more information on your whereabouts. They lied.
I see.
What they really wanted was to steal the secrets of the suit because there's nothing like it in their organization. It is not sure if they got anything from it or not. It just noticed there were bugs at times. Your defenses were pretty good.
If there's anything I hate, it's thieves.
This one agrees. Anyways. And then a brand new list of faces pop up. And more X's appear. And under their orders, it continued their dirty works. And not all of these were actually criminals. This is where it started to get very difficult.
Chris looks at you again, and he frowns, but not in a disapproving way, more of a concerned way. I had no idea.
How would you? You were in another universe. This one was just simply killing for no reason, apparently. This is the main reason why I was so upset yesterday. You see, oh, actually, it's getting ahead of itself. Let us continue. Wipe the screen away, and it brings up a picture of a colony. This is a colony that was in the the terminus space. Cyrus's group was stationed at one of them as the colony was under Eclipse protection. They were getting harassed by Blue Suns.
They took him up. And this one basically became a guard dog, and it was quiet for a little while, and it was nice. It even tried its hardest to ignore the rumors of people being kidnapped in the middle of the night and being tortured. This one actually acted as a bringer of peace, as it was trying to maintain good relations with the colonists. Became friends with their leader, and it brings up another picture of a man.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of shudder at seeing this man because I've seen this man a couple of times during this game.
Mm-hmm.
This man's name is Luther. I had a last name for him, but I can't remember what
That's
it
fine.
was. I'm sorry.
That's fine.
He treated this one as basically ambassador for the Eclipse, even though it was no such thing. In fact, our leader of our faction, I forget, what did I name him? Killian?
I think so. It sounds familiar. I think so.
Yeah, for now it's Killian.
For now.
He never treated Anar as such. In fact, he treated Anar as like a worthless puppet. And then I continue to explain to him. It's actually going very fond of him and his family, and it brings up another picture, and it's a little girl with black hair.
Mm-hmm.
The little
This is
girl
his
in
daughter.
Cyrus's photo?
It's different.
No, different
Okay,
girl.
Cool.
That's a completely different story.
Just checking.
I actually get very quiet for a second, and actually I kind of put my tentacle on the screen, and it goes right through the hologram, because I believe it's projected onto the thing. It was so nice for such a while. And it brings up other video feeds of him like interacting with the little girl and her calling him Mr. Anar. And honestly, there's not as much as he would like, because not all his interactions with her was with the mech. He only has video footage of things that happened with the mech.
Right.
Each one of these videos views are actually in the hundreds of thousands,
Mm-hmm.
which shows a bit of an obsession.
Right.
This one thought it was going so well. Cyrus then began at some point to start planning a rebellion against Killian and his other troops. The men were getting very uneasy with everything that was happening in the backgrounds. He asked this one if he would agree in the coup. It wasn't actually sure because it didn't want to endanger Luther's colony until that day. And then he brings up another video feed. And this one has only one view. This video only has one view.
Mm-hmm.
And it's frozen right now on Luther, who is pointing a finger at Killian, and looks like he's yelling. And Killian's got a... Oh, by the way, Killian is like a gray, scaly Solarian.
Okay.
And he does not look like a nice person, like whatsoever.
Okay.
And I'm about to play it, and it's like, this one's sorry. And then he plays the video.
Okay.
As it begins, the man Luther is screaming at Killian, like demanding he knows what's been happening to his people, because some have been disappearing. Killian is just like raising his hands, like we know nothing of you, like unable to keep tabs on your own people, and they're going back and forth. And then it gets to the point where Luther is talking about like ending the relationship, and then Killian is signaling his boys to draw weapons on them. Anar's mech is actually getting very tense, but he's not raising his weapon. And he's getting actually pretty nervous because you can hear his noises inside the video feed. And then all of a sudden, it just all goes to hell, and bullets start flying towards like all the people and bodies of them going down left and right. And then at the same time, you hear like some other yelling, and then you start seeing the other Eclipse like mercenaries getting shot from behind. and the mech turns, and it shows like Cyrus is commanding the coup basically, and then it starts an inbred fighting. Anar is moving his guns left and right because it doesn't know who to point at. Until at one point he hears his name called, and then he turns and he's pointing his gun at who called his name, and it's. Did I say her name was Lucille?
Yeah.
Okay, and I said it was no Lucille, and then at that point I paused the video, and I look very cold. In fact, I'm shivering. I'm kind of belt over a little bit, and I'm rubbing a tentacle around my midriff. And then I say, "Sorry, give it a minute."
Chris is
Okay.
looking at the monitor with the little girl, and he's starting to put two and two together.
He, it's so sorry. And then he presses play. And all of a sudden, like, the girl screams, and she's just looking at the screen, the gun's pointing at her. And then all of a sudden, the gun gets thrown down, and then Anar goes over and picks her up and starts asking, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" It's like, "Oh, where's your dad?" And then she's screaming, "I don't know, Mr. Anar. I don't know. Where is my daddy?" And then they're looking around, and they see his body on the ground. He's been shot in the front of his head, like on his forehead. And she screams, and he's like, "Don't look, don't look." And then he's like holding her up to his faceplate. She's got tears streaming down, and she's looking directly into like the camera, and she says, "He's dead." And then he's Anar is saying, "It's going to be okay. It's all going to be all right." And then all of a sudden, the front of her forehead explodes and presses against the glass. And then an arm starts to scream in the video.
When that happens, Chris gasps, and then he puts his hands up to his face to cover the graphic scene, and he at that point he just looks away, and he can't look at the screen anymore.
It's continuing to play because Anar is actually visibly paralyzed at the moment. And you'll see in the video him open the glass rapidly and pulls in the little girl and starts cradling her. And you could just see a little bit of him in the camera, but not by much. And he's like freaking out. And then all of a sudden he starts hearing someone barking orders at him. And then the mech moves a little bit, and Killian's in view, pointing a pistol at him. And he's demanding him to start firing on the betrayers. And at that point, Cyrus gets in between them. By the way, at this point, Cyrus isn't actually blind. He's not wearing a visor. I forgot to mention that earlier, which I apologize. And he's pointing a gun at Killian, and Killian's demanding what is the meaning of this. And Cyrus just calmly says to Anar to run. But he seems a little like paralyzed, but he screams at him again to run, and then Anar pulls Lucille's body into the mech and then starts bolting it. During the video, it's basically him joining up with a small group and going through the facility, taking out the loyalist Eclipse. But the thing is, he gets easily separated from his small group because Anar is spending extra time on each person. In fact, very graphically with each person. Until he finally leaves the facility. It's been some time away. There's rubble everywhere. Fire is burning. And he finds Cyrus for some reason. He's on the ground, and his face is like oily charred, and Anar can tell he can't see. So he goes. You can see him jump out of the mech and try and pick him up, and he's muttering about apologies and such, and he's trying really hard to drag him into the mech, and it gets to the point where he actually jumps back into the mech and then picks him up again, with like 3 tentacles and like 2 arms, trying to get him inside. And then you just see him mosey on into a drop ship that was there. There's still gunfire going all over the place. It's all hectic. And then the feed cuts out. And then on the bottom right, the view count goes from 1 to 2. And then Anar slowly raises a tentacle and wipes it away. At this point, I'm actually heavily sobbing.
Chris puts a hand on your body, and he looks very upset himself. It looks like he's starting to cry too. I'm sorry.
So is this one. It couldn't save her. It couldn't save any of them.
He moves closer and he wraps his arms to give you a big, long hug. And he just sits there with you. You guys hear a knock on the ship, and you hear a voice say, "Hello? Hello?"
What is that?
Yeah, well, I just brought up the external video scans, and we saw cogs, right?
Yes. Yes, exactly.
And
So-
is it speaking actual English, human English?
I think
Hi,
our translators
David.
would fix that.
Oh, we have Max and Waxy.
Yeah.
Mr. Advice.
So you're trying to deceive me again, are you?
Oh, come on, we knew it was going to be him.
I
Yeah.
had my suspicions, especially
I thought it was
when
going to be
told
him.
me. Yeah,
It's the
especially
next
when
one I'm
you told me
actually
last
very
night.
David, let me give you some context right now.
All right, right.
You guys are actually on the Wounded Coast. You're on the Wounded
Oh,
Coast.
okay.
Okay.
Oh, for some reason I was thinking deep caves.
No, you're not in the deep caves. You're in the wound. You're on the
So
Wounded
we're
Coast.
basically
right
where we meet Bull's charges.
That's
I
so
think
funny.
so. I think so.
Shipwrecks and crashing waves and
Yeah, I think so.
awesome.
And Maximilian, you are actually going on a leisurely. You're hunting. You're leisurely going out hunting. Cogs, however, is here for a separate reason. You actually don't know that he's around yet. Just to give you some context. It is approximately. The characters don't know this, but David, it is approximately 5 years since the campaign ended.
5 years.
Oh.
Okay.
5 years.
Tired of being Viscount, I see.
3 years after you got married to Miss Jodie Sunworth.
Oh, your son's
I like
like
the sound
only
of
a
that.
year or 2 old.
So anyway, there's this big giant metal-looking thing that you've never seen before. It's in the distance, and you are on horseback right now, and somebody has accompanied you because whenever you leave Kirkwall, this person always goes with you to protect you. Your bodyguard, Plim, is also on horseback.
Nice.
Plim has probably better eyes than you, and he kind of he kind of yells over at Maximilian and says, "Hey, Waxy, you see what I see over there?" And he points at this big, weird-looking metallic structure.
Is it a structure up in the distance, or is it like a flying
Yeah,
thing?
it's a big, giant. Well, it's a like out of character. It's a ship. It's a spaceship, but you don't know that. But it looks like this big, giant metal thing.
It's smooth.
Yeah, it's a smooth metal thing.
It's very smooth
Correct.
and curved.
What is that? Is this something Cogs have conjured up? Is this a new skyship?
That would be something a little guy would conjure up. Although, I don't know. It's really huge. I've heard rumors about meteors. You don't suppose it's another big giant thing of star metal, do you? Maybe I can
Oh.
get something. Maybe I can get a little something fashioned for me. He thinks as he rubs his chin.
You know what they say about curiosity? I'm not too sure about this. None of my scouts have reported anything like this before. Was this thing here yesterday?
I don't think so, but whatever it is, if it just appeared out of nowhere, I don't know. So close to Kirkwall, I wouldn't just ignore it.
You know what? For once, I think you're actually right. You ready for some exploring?
It's been a while, but absolutely, yes. We're kinda getting tired of hunting fennecs and nugs around. Let's go for some bigger prey.
Just stay cautious. I don't like the look of this.
All right. Together?
All right. Together.
Yeah!
Just like old times.
Yeah, he says as he tells his horse to ride forward, and you guys are off. Meanwhile, back at the big giant metal thing, what's going on inside the ship?
So it is speaking English.
It is speaking English. Well, yes, common, whatever, however you want to put that. Yes,
Well, as in
I have a question.
We can understand
how
him.
long
you can
after-
understand him. Yes.
without translators.
Yeah, I would say so. I would say without
Okay.
translators, yes. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Just for sake of convenience.
For sake of convenience, they happen to speak actual English.
Truman, can you do a quick scan outside for contaminants in the air? Anything we should be aware of?
The environment on this planet does not seem to be hostile. You should be able to move freely about, with no problems.
Okay, people, who wants to say hello to the little alien?
Location, unknown.
Oh, great. Star
Well, that's
shots.
perfect, isn't it?
Maybe this little guy will be able to tell us something.
Yeah,
I don't know
it
how he's
does
gonna
seem
react
intelligent.
to Anar, to Akara and I and Anar.
This one feels a little hungry. Like, you can go for a sandwich.
The little guy has some goggles on his head, and he puts the goggles in front of his eyes, which makes his eyeballs from your end look really huge.
Actually,
And,
do we have any regulations about first contact with an alien species? I don't think anyone's had to use them in a very long
Not in a
time.
very long time. I'm sure they exist. But yeah, you haven't had
No
to
one's
do it
been
in a while.
bothered in so long, no one remembers them.
Nope, I don't
Could
remember
be.
them. Does anyone remember them? Do we want to
Nah.
look them up, or should we just? Okay, let's go.
Let's just check it out. He seems intelligent enough, I guess. He
Yeah,
can
just
communicate.
watch it in case they've got any weapons. Okay.
We'll be fine.
Says the one not in an envirosuit.
Stick
Actually,
behind
I
my
have an
shield
idea.
and
I
you'll
have
be
an idea.
fine.
I have an idea.
Mhm.
I'm going to stand near the door.
Mhm.
The combat drone appears outside the door, and a hollow image of me appears.
Okay.
The little
Plus,
guy immediately looks towards the direction of the drone. What in the nature?
I'm sorry. And Nara looks over at Elias and says, "Really? Really?"
Well, it's one way to be safe, I guess. It doesn't seem...
It might be carrying diseases. I'm Aquarian.
Well, this one is a Hanar, but you don't see it being as afraid. Here, let
Well, he
this one
seems
go.
That
harmless
one
enough.
has a better immune system than this one.
Well, this one's going over to the door and opening it.
Should we be careful that he might be trying to lead us into an ambush? Is there anyone else behind him?
I got
Well-
a gun.
Stick behind my shield, guys. I'll go after Anar. Let him do whatever.
Anar's
fine.
got his pistol vest on. He's poking the button to try and open the door. for us.
And the hollow says, there's someone coming to the door. Don't be too afraid. He's mostly just bluster.
Wow, you can talk.
So can you.
At this point, I guess the hatch opens up,
Mhm.
and out,
Uh-huh. And out pops a little pink floating wad of bubble gum wearing a sweatshirt. in headphones and sipping a soda.
At this, he sees that, and at this, Cogs is still looking through his goggles, and he gasps for a second, and his eyes like grow wide, and he says, "Are you? You're not a demon, are you?" He says as he holds up his hands.
Only when it comes to his taste in music.
I look over at Elias and say, "This one thinks you should be talking."
Hang on, are you saying it to Elias inside the ship or the projection that's outside?
Outside. And this one, I say, this one wishes you to excuse it while it does a test. It starts breathing in and out really fast. Am I dead?
I don't think so.
Elias, the air seems fine out here.
You don't look like you're an undead.
Akara pokes her head at the door. Are you treating him
Gasps.
nicely, Anar?
I'll step out too.
This one's being more courteous than the lounge singer. At least we're dressing first. And this one apologizes for its friend's rude behavior. This one's name is Anar. It is a Hanar if you have not come to know of its species. It inquires of your race, little one.
The little guy has, by this point, he's fallen over on his behind, and he was starting to back up a little bit, but then when Anar started introducing himself, he starts to cautiously, like, move back towards your direction again, and he says, "You said your name is Anar."
Yes, the Hanar.
Anar the Hanar.
And your name is?
My name is Cogs.
Cogs the what?
Cogs, he says, Cogs the Artificer.
Ah, Cogs the Artificer. You artificers are quite small in stature, but it has no business judging you size. And extends a tentacle. It is pleased to make your acquaintance.
He nervously holds out his little tiny hand and shakes your tentacle.
No poisoning.
Wow.
Do not worry, this one is quite harmless when it's not using its poison in an offensive manner.
So, you're not demons or undead or darkspawn?
We're aliens. We're aliens. It's a thing.
Well, I'm not naming
Yes!
it.
Yeah, technically you are an alien because this probably isn't your world. So technically you are.
His demeanor
Sorry.
goes from scared and cautious to excited and intrigued. And all of a sudden he says, You're aliens? Where are you from? How long have you been here? Why are you here? Who's your leader? And he just keeps asking all these questions. Have you come to kill us? But he doesn't. But he says that in a very excited way, like, "Oh my gosh, this is amazing." Have you come to kill us?
Sorry,
Slow down,
you
little
run through
one.
those
You're starting to make
questions
this
again?
one seem very calm.
Sorry, can you run through those questions again, please? What did he say?
Where are you from? How long have
How
you
long
been
have you
here?
been here, wasn't it?
Yeah.
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 Who are your leaders? Are you going to kill
Have you come to
us?
kill us?
Have you come to kill us? Yes. I think those are the main ones I remember.
At this point, Anar first goes, whoa, calm down. You're making this one
Okay,
very calm in
so-
comparison.
All over
This
the
one
galaxy, about a minute. I don't know if we technically have a leader. We sort of all live in council space, if that helps. Don't think it will. And no, we haven't come to kill you.
Oh, good. That's good.
It would be kind of awkward if we had.
So, his other question is, why did you come here? Why did you come here?
And we have no idea why we're here. This wasn't actually.
Anar pipes up. He's like, this one wants to answer that question. This one wants to answer that question. Okay. He actually goes into his pack and pulls out a little device and starts poking the button and a light starts coming on and off and gives it to Cox. Can you hold this and point it at her, please?
Oh, that's a really interesting looking device. And he takes it. And he points it at Arcara.
And then Anar goes behind our car and then comes up slowly from behind, waving tentacles everywhere in a big loud voice. We come in peace.
Does the device do anything?
It's just making him look shadowy because the light is
I
on
see.
Arcara. It's dramatic. He always wanted to do this.
Wow.
By the way, Arcara, you're failing at making him not look stupid.
We never make Anar not look stupid. That would be defeating the purpose of having Anar.
Anar is Anar, and that's that.
Exactly.
Well, it's better than you just sending a drone out. It's like, here's my hologram.
He's cautious. He's Aquarian.
I know, it's a thing.
The little guy says, This is amazing. I always knew that there was life in outer space, but I never thought I would actually meet.
Anar actually goes up, leans closer to Arcara's ear, and whispers, "Introduce yourself."
Are you done with your antics then?
No. And then a few seconds
Of
pass.
course you're not.
Okay, now I am.
She'll just give him a little nudge and okay, fine. Just no.
I hit the ground with a squeak.
My name is Cogs, he says as he holds out his hand towards Arcara. What's yours?
She'll go down on one knee and extend her hand. I'm Arcara. Nice to meet you.
Arcara, you're really big, but you have a very gentle voice.
Why, thank you.
Is anyone else
I'll
there
step
now?
out too.
Sisepia?
I'll step out now. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll follow behind Sisepia as well.
Nara's just gonna tell Elias, see, it's fine. You can come out.
Wow. Are you all... Your aliens look so different.
I'm gonna walk out through the hollow, just for fun.
Okay.
Show off.
He looks over at Sisepia, up and down. Hello, my name is Cogs. Hello.
Nice to meet you.
Hi, and you. Wow, you look almost human. He says as he turns to Sync.
Well, I'll kind of get down on one knee too. I'm Sync. Nice to meet you, Cogs. Not used to being
AKA
called an
Fawcett.
alien. We usually call everyone else that.
Hey, where I come from, you're all aliens.
That is true. That's very true. So you
All you
don't...
humans look alike.
It's at this. Meanwhile, Plim is getting closer to the big giant ship thing, and then he holds up his hand towards Maximilian to stop. He starts sniffing the air.
What do you smell?
I don't know what I smell. I've
You
never.
smell.
Subject.
He sniffs the air. This is weird, Maximilian. There's something new. Something I have no idea what is up there, and that makes me nervous. It's not necessarily bad, but I don't think it's necessarily good either.
Well, there's only one way to find out.
But I do also smell... Oh. I think you were right, Waxy. I can smell a little bit of grease. Fuel. I think the little guy is up there somewhere.
Oh, what has he gotten himself into now?
Well, we should probably check it out. Hopefully he hasn't made a big giant bomb thing or something. The last thing we need in Kirkwall is a huge explosion.
We do have a
That's true.
Thanix cannon on this thing, right? Yes, we added one? Yes, we did.
Yeah, we had that.
Oops.
Okay,
Let's
stay
Let's
not
close
take it
by.
let's take it at a slow trot. So you guys will approach slowly. Well, finally, Maximilian, you'll get to the point where you guys are coming off to the side, from the side of these guys, so they haven't noticed you approach yet. But you can see a group of figures. Cogs is probably hard to spot because of how tiny he is, but you do see what you think is Cogs conversing with some medium-sized and maybe a couple large-sized creatures. Do you see them?
I do.
I should have said no.
I'm trying to make out who or what they are, but they don't look like anything I've ever seen before. They look like they're talking, though.
I don't trust this one bit. Let's mount off.
While you guys are having a conversation with Cogs, you turn and you start hearing the sound of hooves galloping. And
I turn in that direction.
You're turning that direction, and you see two figures on horseback. One appears to be a human dressed in metal armor. He's got a very, I'm assuming he has a very regal-looking shield and a sword. And the guy next to him looks more dog-like than anything, but he is riding on a horse as well. And they are approaching you rather quickly, but not necessarily in a threatening way. But you can probably tell that they also are about as cautious as Cogs is.
Horses,
What are those things?
metal, shield, sharp pointy stick. Oh, we're on a tier 2 planet. Tick 2.
By the
Hold up and
Enkindlers,
explain
those are
things.
horses.
Yep, those are horses.
Brings up panel in a very Chris. There's horses out here.
Oh, I know them! Hey! At this point, Cogs starts running over towards them with his little tiny legs, and he's running towards them and waving his arms, and says, "Hey, hello!" as he's making his way over to Maximilian and Plim.
He must be friends with the horses.
Cogs, get behind me, right now. I sheath my sword.
He when you approach him before you get up to him, Cogs sort of he yells out, "Hi, Maximilian! I'm in," and then he gets down on one knee and he bows and says, "Lord Sunworth," and then you tell him to get behind him, and says, okay, yes, Viscount Sunworth," and he gets behind you. But I wanted to introduce you to my friends as he's walking past you.
I said, stay there. Don't trust these things.
Oh, okay. And Plim looks towards Cog, says, "Don't worry, little buddy. We're checking this out just to make sure it's for your own safety." Okay. The Plim looks towards the group. "I guess you're gonna be doing the talking, and I'll be doing the enforcing."
I think we're both very capable to do some enforcing if it comes to that. Be ready.
Well, one of us is a little bit better than the other. He says.
Yeah, I think we can agree on that.
He looks towards you
You
again.
should
but he
fire
doesn't
singularity
respond.
at him.
I'm sorry.
I was actually going to suggest you talk to them first, but hey, that's an idea. You could singularity first, talk later?
That's an option.
I don't think that's the best way to introduce ourselves, though. The little guy seemed friendly enough.
Yeah,
but those
but
guys got
that's
the
the
sharp-
little guy, and those are the two meat shields.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's fine. I got a better shield.
True.
Well, I start approach either way.
Okay, go ahead, and Plim will follow right behind you, and Cogs will be behind your two horses.
Do they have their weapons out?
Yes.
I think Maximilian did.
Maximilian
Yeah.
has his weapons out.
The drone is moving into a flanking position.
Who of you is the mage that conjured up these abominations?
Abominations.
Is that a
sorry,
fancy
which
drink?
abominations?
Remember, these guys aren't that bright, considering.
Mm.
Sorry, Tech 2, forgetting.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I want to lift Maximilian's weapon out of his hand.
Mage translated victory. Oh! Sorry, no, this is, science.
Technology. Then again, how far have these guys gotten?
They're riding horses and using pointy sticks as weapons.
Yeah.
True. Good idea.
Definitely far from hyper bugles.
Cog says they're aliens from another planet.
Planets, plural, about
Universes, actually, but...
one thing at a time.
Well, true. Never mind.
Cogs,
Probably
I
makes
know
sense,
you
though.
always... Cogs, I know you have always watched the stars. You know what the Psy demons do? Makes your dream come true, right? Don't listen to them.
What,
Demons.
seriously? That's a bit weird.
I'm not a demon.
Huh.
I don't know. I've seen you with your sin skin off.
Oh, Elias, be nice. It's not that bad.
No.
At this point, Plim sniffs. The one over there must be the mage. He's human. Sniffing over towards Sink.
You.
Never thought I'd hear Sink being accused of being a mage.
You, human. Give me one reason not to strike you all down right now.
I'd
I
like to
strike
see
you
you
down?
try.
Oh, might strike harder first.
I like to imagine at this time everybody starts hearing Anar magically appear behind them and talking to the horses. We come in peace.
Oh, can that happen? That would be amazing. You can float? That should totally happen.
That would be such an Anar thing to do.
Are you doing
I
that?
know, do it.
Yes,
Do it.
Anar would appear behind them and
You
magically
say,
start talking.
we come in peace. The horse that you're right next to is Plim's horse gets startled. The horse bucks up. Plim falls onto the ground. And he looks a little worse for wear, but he seems a little bit more annoyed than anything else. And then he gets
This
right...
one apologizes for harming your dog, your canine.
The dog...
How far away is Anar from Maximilian at this point?
Probably about a horse's length away.
Yeah, about I mean, Plim was right
You
behind
just
you.
mounted, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Plim was behind you and to the left, so like a few feet, several feet away.
Well, Maximilian doesn't think this is a big joke, so he's just gonna rush in and try grab this thing.
Sepia.
Lift.
Roll
I'm
in.
lifting him.
Come
I'm
on.
gonna activate a lift on him.
Oh boy,
This is
Good
not
dodge.
gonna go well.
you
Just be
Actually, if it
careful, okay?
you're gonna
I
activate a
know.
lift.
This is why it's gonna be funny.
You activate a lift. Roll. Are you have to make a roll?
I-
You have to check.
I just rolled.
26.
26. Okay, Maximilian, roll me a willpower, please. Using the dungeon,
Look
using
at
the
that.
Dragon Age rules. Use the Dragon Age rules, please.
If it doesn't work, I have a backup plan.
Well, so do I. It's called a sniper rifle. I'd really rather not use it.
I have a mech that I
Very
can just
close.
bring out of nowhere.
True, I've also got the drone which is about to electrify people, but again, I'd really rather not do it.
I'd
Hopefully
rather
that
take
works then.
it away
What
than
is it,
just kill him.
Maximilian?
Yes.
15.
All right. So are you just lifted up in the air?
Yeah.
Yep.
You get okay. Maximilian gets
I meant
lifted
to
up.
and then I have my kind of the one hand is covered in the.
And you,
I
you can tell
activate
that
the
it's
lift.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah.
You lift him up in the air, and then the entire time Cogs is watching this through his goggles, and he's like, "Bro, that's impossible." And so Maximilian, you're up in the air currently, and Plim, he has gotten himself very quickly back on his feet like a cat, and
Mages!
and he sees that Sesepia is attacking Maximilian, so he's going to start charging towards your direction.
Sorry,
this
one I
do?
go mech form
Our
and
Kara
grab
will get in between and just
Oh,
stop
it's
Do a
all
slam.
fair,
with her.
I said mine first.
Yeah, and I'll say,
Oh,
everybody calm
I'm sorry.
down.
Roll a diplomacy, I guess. Roll a persuasion. You say calm down. Are you going to say anything beyond that?
Yeah, we're all confused here. The best thing we can do is talk and figure this out.
You also don't want him to drop, because that could get messy in that armor.
Maximilian. I'm sorry. Plim stops his charge, but he doesn't. Back off, and he snarls at you and says, "You're the one who attacked him first."
Anar actually introduced.
No.
Actually, your friend threatened him first. Technically.
Sorry, he still doesn't quite get that horses don't talk back.
No,
Yeah.
he was actually
I
talking to
don't
Plim.
think I've actually... Do they still
Let
have
me
horses
down
on
this
road?
instant.
Nope.
Are you gonna behave? Do you want a Twinkie?